Hello, I am the sexy chef. Yes, I'm so sexy. Come and see me on Patreon. Give me money, make me rich. Cooking, yeah. No, it's just me, the awful chef. I eat, therefore I cook. Today, we are making a ridiculously simple dish. Dinner from nothing, basically. You have an onion, some garlic, a can of beans, and some stock. Oh yeah, and a weed called rosemary. Okay. I'm just getting the hang of this thing. I'm sorry about that. So, the thing I want to get across to you is the technique is what's very important here in making food from nothing, because each ingredient must be handled separately. You saw the onion, you cut that up, put it on a hamburger, life will be good. You see here we have some sauteed onions. Those are pretty good. But to really make the soup, you have to master the onion, which means cooking it for half an hour and making it all nice and brown and juicy. So, there we have an onion cooked for about half an hour in butter, oil, salt, pepper, and just a hint of sugar. And that is about 75% of the meal. Keep in mind that in a lot of the world, dinner is just a plate of food. It's nothing fancy. We are actually going to be making two versions of the soup today. One meatless, which is very good, and in fact it's my wife's favorite. And the other with meat, because I need the extra high protein charge for what I'm doing. So, onions, cooked for half an hour in butter and oil, salt, pepper, and just a hint of sugar added later. Garlic. Now, we've talked about the technique for butter, we've talked about the technique for onions. There are thousands of techniques for garlic. In this case, I add it later, and it's just simply chopped. Excuse me. Oh, that smells good. But of course I have to cough now that I'm on TV. And yes, we have a magic ingredient today, which is why I'm using the big Le Creuset pan that I got at a garage sale. That's because I don't want to wear the soup. And when I use this, I tend to wear soup. And delightfully, because we're only cooking for two people, it's just a can of beans. Yeah, throw in a can of beans, a weed called rosemary, and some stock. Blend it up, you got dinner. It's a meatless dinner, and it's literally one of my wife's favorite. So there's the first version. Now we're going to make the second version, because I got to take this stuff to work. Okay. First, I'm going to do the French thing and deglaze the pan with a little white wine. Oh, that's so right. As that cooks, I'm going to throw in some rosemary. The one thing they won't say is keep the stick. I've just pulled all the leaves off the rosemary and thrown them in. You can chop them if you want, but since I'm using the blender, I'm not going to. But take the stick, throw that in too. There is a lot of rosemary oil in the stick. So here we go, saute, saute. Now, as stated, we have to do this a little differently because I'm taking this to work. So, a little tomato paste. How much tomato paste? As much as you want. I give it a little squirt. The thing thing is that cooking comes down to taste. It is your taste what you put into it. And there's so little in this that you can make it any way you want. Now I just threw in some cubed ham. These little hams are a godsend. They're just pork, basically pork tofu. You buy one of these, you can do anything with it. Throw it into ramen, whatever. Throw it into soups. And they keep forever in the fridge. So, I got some onion that I cooked for half an hour. I got some garlic that I threw in later because I want the high note. I don't want the garlic to cook down to nothing. Little tomato paste and some basic sandwich ham. You know, you just buy it at the meat case, cube it up, it's great. Okay. We have a very good smell coming out of that pot right now. The onions, the garlic, of course, the butter, the tomato, the rosemary. The ham doesn't hurt either. So you let that cook. You get a bit of a fond on the bottom. Yes, a fond. Ooh, I'm talking French. Basically what you do is you caramelize the sugars and they stick to the bottom of the bowl, or bottom of the pan, pardon me. Now, can of beans. If you read the recipe, they say drain and rinse. Okay, I'm not going to do that because I want the starch. It's a thickener. I will drain the beans because there's just too much liquid. But in it goes. And in this case, there's nothing in the bottom of the can. In some cases there would be. You add a little stock, shake it around, pour it in. So right now we are building up a very good crust on the bottom of the pan. Should I have waited to use the wine and deglaze that way? I could have. Yeah, that's right. Everybody wants to watch the old guy cook. That's so exciting, right? And the fact is that if you make this dish and you serve it to a date, or if you make this dish and just plain eat it, you'll be very happy with yourself. Okay. Now, chicken stock in a box. Everybody's greatest friend when you're cooking for two people. How much do I add? As much as you want. How thick do you want your soup? How thin do you want the soup? It's up to you. I generally go through about a half one of these boxes, which would be about 16 ounces for 1 can of beans. Okay. And you see, this is the fun part. And this is why I'm using a big pan, even though there's very little food in there. Let me see if I can pick this up. Yeah, I can. If you look in here, you'll see there's not a lot of food, although I'm about to spill it on the carpet. But there is not a lot of food in there. A can of beans, 16 ounces of stock, 1 very cooked onion, a little garlic, some ham. So, what I'm going to do is let that cook down, and then I'm going to hit it. Oh, good catch. Well, that wasn't supposed to happen. Hit it with my blender and make a gourmet soup that everybody loves. But the thing is that the basic soup is just an onion cooked for half an hour. That's the technique. That is the magic trick. Some chopped garlic, some salt, some pepper, a can of beans, and some rosemary. And that's it. That's dinner. So, I am the awful chef. My techniques are terrible. And with that, I'm going to try to end this using my new gizmo. Thank you.